All right, what's going on, everybody? Today we are at the industry days of the North American International Auto Show, also known as the Detroit Auto Show here in Detroit, Michigan. And we are here for a variety of reasons, of course, but the main reason, the number one reason why we're here is to check out the latest from Dodge, and that is their Dodge Charger Daytona SRT concept, basically their new concept car for a muscle EV. Now, of course, we all saw the debut a few weeks ago at the Dodge Power Week, and my first reaction, of course, were, well, it's probably one of the best looking EVs on the market, but let's see, of course, how it develops into a full production car. Well, finally seeing the car in person, I have to say, Dodge has done an amazing job at capturing the heritage and the essence of what it is to be Dodge. And so there's a lot of design cues in here that you see that are throwbacks to the original cars. And the interior with its 4 individual bucket seats is notched to the 66 Dodge Charger. The lines on the quarter panel are very reminiscent of the 68 to 70 Chargers. There are a lot of great design cues and styling cues on this car, and I'm really pleased with the way that the design turned out. The wheels are a little busy, but at the same time, I really like the styling of the wheels. I like to bring back the Fratzog logo from the 60s and 70s. It's an amazing nod to their heritage. I like the center lug locking wheels on this car. We'll see if that actually makes in production, or if the production car actually has traditional 5 or 6 lug concept. So let's take a quick look around at this car and see how it actually looks in person, because this car actually, seeing it in person, I'm really impressed. I hate EVs. I've never been a fan of EVs, so of course, time will tell how this one actually does for longevity, performance, range, cost. All of those things are still yet to be known, but at this point in time, seeing the car in person, the concept, what they've got put together here, looks really sharp, and I'm really pleased with the work that Dodge and their team has put together with bringing this car out. And like I said, you all know I'm not a fan of EVs. I'm not a fan of that movement. That's the way things are going, and it's unfortunate, sad to see. We'll see how much longer internal combustion engines last as far as new cars go. I'll probably be driving internal combustion engines for decades to come. It'll probably still be another 10 or 15 years, I'm thinking, before I actually buy my first EV. But I have to say, while I'm not in the market for this type of a vehicle right now, when the day comes that I am in the market to buy an EV, this is probably something that I would actually consider purchasing, depending, of course, on the price point and its range, because it looks really sharp, and I really like the design as on the exterior as well as the interior. All right, now one thing I'm not a big fan of on the styling of this car on the interior side of things is how the dash is done. Like most modern cars that you're seeing, especially electric cars, it looks like you've got a couple of iPads just sticking out of the dash. I would prefer to see a much more integrated and seamless design instead of just some random panel screen thing sticking out of the dashboard with nothing behind it. It looks out of place, and it just looks like an afterthought, and I wish from that standpoint they've done a little better job of integrating those screens into the dashboard as a whole. But other than that, the rest of the interior, it looks really sharp. The center console, the 4 individual racing bucket seats, the whole 9 yards, all of that looks really sharp. I really like the door panels and the way they're designed. Another thing that's really interesting to note, because of the aerodynamics of the car and those requirements for an EV, you've got a really short rear deck on this car, and as a result, it's too short to go ahead and have a traditional trunk. So this car is actually a hatchback. It's really weird to say having a muscle car being a hatchback, but here it is. Now, of course, there are a lot of people out there saying, well, muscle cars have to be gas powered. Well, what Dodge is doing here is making a new market, a new segment altogether, and taking EVs to a whole nother dimension and creating something for those of us that enjoy those classic muscle cars, and creating a new electric muscle car segment. And it'll be very interesting to see how Ford and GM respond, and what the long term is for that segment, and how the market responds to it. So what are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys like this new concept car? Do you think it has place in your garage? I'm really interested in what your thoughts are on this as well. Go ahead and put those in the comment section below, because as you guys know, I read all of your comments. Now, of course, this is going to be a wrap on today's video, but stay tuned for future videos as we cover more things from the North American International Auto Show and other adventures I go on while I'm out here in Detroit. And on that note, guys, I will see you in the next video.